we good? Is that a good test mic check? All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. High as dark as, of course, you creepy lizard men out there in Raid Shadow Legends is Talaria. Whatever it is, come on in, come on in. We're gonna be talking about today all of the login calendar champions, ranking them from best to worst in Raid Shadow Legends. Well, we hit a milestone in Raid not so long ago, and I thought, well, this is a good time to kind of reflect on some of these champions and talk about, well, are some of these champions you get for free? Are they worth the investment? But you know what is worth the investment? If you're a new player and you haven't played already, use my link down below. Scan my QR code. I'll be able to get you to Gore right away. And Deacon Armstrong at level 40. Both of these characters, I think a lot would say, are better than a lot of login champions in Raid Shadow Legends. So people, let's get nice and personal. Come on over here. If you like pina colada, if you like Raid Shadow Legends in the pouring rain, well, you've come to the right place. Here's what we have today, my friends. Gary, need you to resize. Thank you, Gary. You're the best. What else is new? Here's what we have. I found this tier list on Google, and basically what I wanted to do is go over all of these different login champions, basically up until this goblin looking dude. All these champions are like old login, like, you know, limited edition calendar stuff that we don't really see anymore. They might pop once in a while, like Ninja reappeared about a year ago. We're gonna basically focus on the champions that all players coming to Raid Shadow Legends they get by going through the daily login award. And recently I hit a milestone where I'm at the 271 day plus part of the calendar. Claimed everything else up until then. I've upgraded some of these champions, and I learned something new as I was getting ready for this video. So I'm at the point of this video where, point of my Raid Shadow Legends journey, where I'm picking up Cleopterix shards, which as we get to her, you'll find out I already actually have one of her sets. Awkward. And I learned recently that apparently there are more champions after this Cleopterix, which I did not understand or know at this point. Basically, the Cleopterix or Cleopterix, potato, tomato. There's Scion, Guurda, Lady Eresh, Arix, Ceez, as well as afterwards, once you get all the champions, then you go into the soul stones. However, well, that's gonna be a long time. Basically, what is it? Day 810. Yeah, that's a long time right there. That's almost like, what is that? Almost 3 years, something like that. I don't want to do the math right now. You guys can do that. That's going to be your homework for today. So what I'm going to do is let's just go break down some of these. Should you invest in them? Because especially as a free-to-play player, new player, you want to take advantage of all the free champions, but at the same time, you don't want to waste money or resources, whatever you're going to do, on new champions that you're getting as well. So let's start this party off with High Khatun. Khatun? Is that? I don't know. Gesundheit. So I'm just going to throw her there right now. We'll talk about her and then we'll kind of, you know, figure out where we're going to land her. So let's first pull up the Hades overall initial review. 3.5 stars overall for High Khatun. And let's go ahead and actually pull her up in my roster. Have I done anything with her? Well, we're about to find out. I think you guys are going to be a little surprised with this. So High Khatun. I feel like I keep wanting to say Gesundheit. Epic champion, your first champ that you're going to be getting inside of Raid Shadow Legends. And the one thing I like about her a lot, for a lot of players coming in, getting a good aura lead that has speed for all types of content is kind of a big deal for a lot of people out there. So this is why I also want, I'm trying to put into context, when you get these champions, kind of makes a big deal. But as you can see, I have not really upgraded her beyond just taking her to level 40. But she's got some nice stuff in her. Besides the aura that she has on her, she also has the ability to, you know, for example, put speed down on the enemies. Also abilities to fill your turn meter up, which is nice. And then she also has ways of decreasing turn meter from her as well. And in the game where speed and turn meter are important, that's a lot of good stuff that you're gonna get right away. So very viable early on, especially for Arena. And as you can see from the Hades page, let's go ahead and pull it up again real quick. You know, you're gonna get some good use in some of the core dungeon experience, you know, all right for Arena. I'd say this is like an all right, all around character. Let me see, let's go pull up our tier list that we have her. Oh man. I think in the context of a new player coming to the game, I feel like High Khatun is good. Like kind of like a, yeah, so this is basically in a way saying 4 out of 5. So a 4 out of 5 type of champion. If you want to argue maybe more of a B tier, I think in the larger scale of the game, probably a B tier. But starting off, I'm going to put it in A tier just for that reason. So the next character you're going to get through your login calendar is going to be, scroll. You're going to be getting Yaga the Insatiable, your 60-day login reward. Another epic champion that you're going to pick up. What have I done with this champion? Well, let me show you. It's going to be, well, spoiler alert. Oh, oh, hold on. Is it? I think he's hiding inside of my champion vaults. That might be even better. Let's see. All right, I'm just gonna spoil it because I don't feel like looking for this guy. I haven't done anything with that. Don't feel like digging through a champion vault to find this guy here. So let's go pull it up real quick. Yaga the Insatiable. What do we got going on here? All right, where are you at? There we go. So you got yourself a Force Affinity champion. Unfortunately, you know, not the craziest aura that you're gonna get right away. He's got a lot of poison abilities on his kit, which is all right. It's nice, you know. Okay, you know, I'm kind of stretching it a little bit here. I'm trying to say some positives here. That's the champion that I would say, you know, again, if you're a person that's not getting a lot of champions, you know, maybe this is something you invest in. However, I would try not over investing as champion. There's really like nothing that's just really jumping out, making me jump to the moon. There are definitely stronger rare champions, I think, out there. Definitely better epics that exist out there. So I would hope as you open up shards in the game, whether Ancient Void, you're going to get yourself some better quality epic champions. So wouldn't invest too much into it. It's nothing really all that special. So let's go ahead, pull up Yaga. Oh gosh, I would say this is probably, yeah, probably I would say let's put in the C tier, this niche category. Now we got Dark Athel. So funny enough, when I started my first account in Raid Legends back in 2019, I picked Athel. We're just gonna throw it here, so not permanent. I got Athel as my first champion. I had a lot of fun, a lot of nuking type of stuff that she's got in the normal Athel kit. And then I'm like, well, a Dark Athel's gotta go fast, gotta be good, right? No, Dark Athel, well, let's pull her up real quick. Have I done anything with her? I'm just not gonna waste your time. No, haven't done much with her. Undead Horde faction. What do we have here? So she's got an increased ally attack in all battles by 20%. You know, she's got some ways to increase speed on this champion. If this attack kills 4 more enemies, that is a very conditional thing. Only getting a 30% increased speed buff, and she has to kill someone. Yeah, that's not the coolest thing of all time. You get some cool, you know, 50% of their max health is okay if this attack kills 6 or more enemies. It seems like a lot. It's just, the problem is, yeah, she doesn't really hit as hard as from what I can tell. Kind of hard to keep alive, and it feels kind of difficult to hit all these different thresholds that you're trying to hit, especially for a Harvest of Despair here. You know, you get the extra decreased speed. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I never really felt the vibe with her. I don't know, never really connect with her. Never felt the reason to go out of my way. Again, if you don't have a lot of Undead Horde members and you're trying to maybe do your faction crypt, maybe this is something to invest in. But overall, I was never really wowed by this character. So I don't know. Oh boy, I'm kind of debating between. I'll put it in niche. I don't want to be too cruel. There's probably going to be worse ones that we're going to go over today. But next up, we have Dark Elhain. I don't know, move her down. She's not in our list today. Dark Elhain. All right, here's the conversation. Let's go pull it up here. Where is it at? All right, Dark Elhain, another epic champion in this game. Ended Hordes, back to back. Well, let's go pull it up. Actually been a little lazy. Haven't been really pulling up the Hell Hades initial ranking stuff. But what we have here, we have a way to remove freeze debuffs on this champion. We can, in turn, you can turn into crit chance up, get some extra crit damage, strengthen. So this is nice, especially in like Doom Tower. You're gonna come across a lot of those not bosses, but the minions, the other characters that have freeze effects. So it's nice that you have a way of kind of a counter to it, for the most part. Also ways to get turn meter. It's great, instantly activates Death's Majesty skill whenever this champion or ally receives a freeze buff. So very, very anti-freeze, which can be a lot of fun. So let's go pull up the Hell Hades to kind of give some other opinions beyond my own. I kind of got lazy at 2.5. Yeah, that sounds about right for Yaga. 2.5 for Dark Athel. So you can see not ecstatic, but Dark Elhain is all right. You know, so here we go. So as I said, I can find some good uses out of him for Doom Tower because there's a lot of those enemies that have that passive freeze effect, and it gets a little bit annoying. Pretty decent for some of the stuff you're going to counter. All right for Arena as well. So I think this is going to be kind of an all right champion. The question is this going to be as good as High Khatun? Gazoon Tight? I'm going to keep saying it. Let's put it in there for right now. You know, I think it's only fair, especially if we got 3.5 for High Khatun. I think that's a good one to put in. All right, so Dark Elhain, we'll throw it in there. So far, those are some of our better champions that we have. But now, what happens when you hit day number 150? I feel like the Mr. Krabs. Day 150, ding, 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 ding. Well, then you get Lonely Legionary, a Banner Lord member who's got a pretty sick freaking sword. I mean, listen, if you got flames on your sword, you mean business. Well, here's the situation all across the nation. you have this ability right here, which is able to reflect damage, get a continuous heal buff on all allies. So all right, cool. Then after that, you get the decreased speed. All right, decreased target certain by 20%. Oh, okay, if you had the speed placed on him. And then you have some heal reduction effect. It's not a kit that's gonna blow your socks up. It's sort of, I guess, nicest way of putting it, sort of a mediocre character. However, you know, maybe having some of that turn meter could be nice, for example, for the Fire Knight. That could be pretty nice. So let's go take a look at the Hell Hades page, kind of see what they're feeling. What are they feeling? Lordly Legionary? Yeah, not a lot, but as you can see, Fire Knight, if you need a little bit of help, that's kind of the best thing for it. As I've grown larger in this account and that I've progressed in Raid Challenge, that's a weird way of saying as my account got bigger. Words are very difficult. I got a hold of Allure, and Allure has been basically my go-to for the Fire Knight, at least for normal. This is great because she's always able to remove turn meter on the basics, so find that a lot more helpful. But again, if you're struggling in the Fire Knight, Lordly Legionary can be helpful. Can I pull it up here? Let's see. Lord. Oh yeah, let's go to everyone. There we go. That's better. Lordly Legionary. Lordly Legionary, and as you can see, I got 3 of them, and I haven't been using any of them. So I think that goes to show wasn't really too enthusiastic about this champion. So let's go ahead, pull up our tier list. Oh man, I think I'm gonna put this in niche. It's gotta be like a Fire Knight's basically the only thing that's really interesting to me. But now I think this one things get very spicy. We have ourselves that's not high Khatun, it's Scyl of the Drakes. Yeah, now we're talking business. I would say Scyl of the Drakes is gonna be the coolest legendary, or it's the coolest login that you would unlock at this point. Takes 180 days. What is that, 6 months basically to get the Scyl of the Drakes? But this the champion that you should be upgrading. I'm just gonna jump the gun. You should be upgrading this champion. First and foremost, she's got this ability right here to heal all allies based on their max HP, and then also get the increased speed. She's got a revive ability for 50% HP and then 50% ally protection. Then she's got ways of stunning the enemy, which is nice. And then she's got ways of just controlling the enemy by pulling back turn meter, getting some speed decreases. An overall solid support champion. And I know for sure that I have this one up and running. Where are you at, Scyl of the Drakes? There you go. So you can see I've been using her, and I've been having a pretty good time with her. Again, it's one of the more powerful, especially free legendaries that you get in the login calendar. This actually might be one of the better ones. We'll double check after my list is done here. So this is definitely a no-brainer. So let's go take a look at just another opinion. Yeah, 4.5 star overall. Very good core dungeon experience. Great across all these different, you know, average to decent to all these core key areas over here. All right for arena. This is a champion, especially if you're free to play or a new player. This is one that you should be upgrading. So for me, I think for the context of this list, yeah, I think this is probably an S tier one. Again, in the context of all the login the champions that you're going to be getting. So now we are at, I believe, what is it, day 210. Hold it up. Where are we at? Day 210. 210. Now you have Tainix Hateflower, epic champion for the demon spawn. I am not a crazy fan of the leadership ability. Yeah, you get a nice chunk of HP for just the faction crypts, so it would have been nice if it was like a plug and play. You could use it anywhere. You're able to reduce some of the damage on all allies that they receive by 5%, and then instead she's gonna absorb that damage. Okay, so it's kind of spreading the damage into her a little bit. And if there are multiple champs, blah blah blah, we don't care about that there. And then the spiteful cut, you know, you could get a little bit of decreased speed, leave a little bit more decreased speed. It's like, you know, it seems overall pretty underwhelming. Only 3% heal. I mean, I guess you attack 2 times, so that's 6% heal. Yeah, and it only works on targets at decreased speed. It just, for overall, this one feels pretty underwhelming. But you know what? If you want more opinions, let's just go pull it up here. It's just there's not a lot being offered with that one. Yeah, another pretty low tier epic. Again, I feel confident as you open up just ancients, you know, and the epics. Void shards, you're going to get better champions. Like, I don't really know where you can use this champion. It's going to blow your mind away. I guess somewhat okay for Hydra, I suppose. That's maybe the best thing you can do. Otherwise, unless you need to and you don't have a lot of other demon spawn for the faction crypts, I would say this one is a pass in my opinion. Let's go. See where's my list. I'm going to check it twice. We're going to find out which of these login champions are naughty or nice. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put this one in F tier. At least with these guys, I feel like they have a niche. I think I have to put her in F tier. I just buff needed. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but someone's got to go down there. Anyways, we got to move on. When all you got to keep is gone, move along, like the Ghrush the Mangler. Epic champion. He's got a big hammer. Got an all right lead for faction crypts. Again, a little too specific of a game mode, but 30% increase defense here. You got continuous heals on it, which this is when things start becoming a little bit more interesting. 50% continuous heal buff on all allies and an additional 7.5% buff on all allies per one turn if at least one enemy is hit with a critical hit, which shouldn't be too hard. Just make sure you put some crit chance on them, if anything. And then furthermore, you got ways of getting a 50% decrease attack or a 25% decrease crit damage, so able to control the opposing damage. What's important about this game? Speed and damage. This addresses one of those. Then the basic here, we have ourselves a leech debuff as well. So these are some pretty nice things that we have for not even just for the faction crypts, like, the lead would suggest. Just this is some solid all-around stuff that we have. This is one of those epics I think you probably should be upgrading, especially if you don't have many Ogre tribes. And I should be taking a little bit of my own advice because, well, let me show you mine. Let me just put it this way. I've neglected my Ogre tribes quite a lot. Yeah, just to put it nicely. Mainly because I have other champions, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. I sort of want to upgrade the characters that look cooler too. You can't put a price on that. When I'm upgrading champions, I'm not fond of the Ogre tribes. They just don't look cool. So unless you had a crazy bonkers out of this world kit, it's like, yeah, you're not getting love Ogre tribes. Eventually I'll get there, but for now, I've been neglecting them. But let's see what the Holy Bible of Raid Shadow Legends is also saying. So we have a 4-star overall champion, and that feels about right. Pretty good in clan boss. Being able to reduce damage from that the clan boss can apply to you is a big deal, because what does that mean? It means you can last longer in battle. Oh my gosh, we're blowing minds here today. Great for the core dungeon experience as well. So this is a pretty solid overall champion. If I could rank things like 1 through 10, I would say this is probably the second best champion from the login calendar. We'll see by the end of the video. I might bump it up to S tier in the context of daily login challenge, but I think this is a good spot. I think this is a good spot to park it for now. And next up, at what day are we at? Day number 270. The last guaranteed champion you're gonna get before you go into the fragment territory, and that's gonna be the Visix the Unbowed. Dark Elf has a 37% increase defense on faction crypts yet again. I'm not too crazy about leads like that. Attacks all the enemies, has provoke on them. Okay, sure thing. And then we have, what do we have? Decreased speed effects, ally protection, which is nice. And then what do we have here? Basic ability, we get, some turn meter chance removal. And then you can fill this champion as well. So, just overall, this feels to be mostly a mediocre kit. It's going to be good for wave-based content, I would say. Being able to, control enemy waves. Okay, that's going to be nice. But for a legendary, oh man, it's before you go into the fragment world, I feel like I like to end with the bang, right? This doesn't really feel like ending with the bang. This is like the last big milestone guaranteed legend before you have to do the whole fragment process that we're going through right now. Yeah, I'm just not crazy blown away. It's an all right in terms of legendaries though. There's more to be desired, but who cares what I gotta say? Let's go take a look at where she at. Yeah, 4-star overall. It's all right. Maybe as I said, wave-based content I think is where you're gonna get probably the most benefit out. So Doom Tower, I can see why we have such a high ranking for that. All right for the core dungeon experience. I think if this was an epic champ, I think my tune would be a lot different. I'm just being a bit more critical because, well, it's a legendary champion, but I feel remiss if I didn't put this inside of the A tier right there, right? I feel like our A tier is a little too full. I'm wondering, oh man, wonder if I should maybe drop down one of these two to okay. Well, we got to keep going before we make that decision. So now we are in what I learned recently, the fragment era. So right now we're in the cycle because I just crossed the 270th threshold not too long ago. Now we're pulling up legendary fragments for Cleopterix, whatever. But it's a little awkward because I actually pulled this champion, I don't know, a few months ago. And I wasn't really blown away. And then I didn't realize, I'm like, oh shoot, this is a login champion too. So I don't know how this will work. I already have it. I kind of wish I could just skip this month, as we're going to talk about. The in-game reviews aren't great. The in-game reviews are kind of an all right thing. I find them to be hit or miss. But anyways, so I'm assuming basically I'm forced to get Cleopterix, which you only get 25 shards a month, and I keep rotating in this calendar for it's gonna take me 4 months to get Cleopterix. That doesn't feel good, especially because I already have them, but minus that, she's just not all that amazing of a champion. Let's go ahead and just pull her up. Again, especially for a legendary. I feel like there's a different threshold for analyzing a character if you're epic versus a legendary. Now, we have this unique ability here, Counterman, which allows counterattacks with default skill every time this champion loses 30% HP or more in a single turn. Kind of an overly conditional type of thing. And then we have a 50% increased accuracy buff in this champ for 2 turns that attacks all enemies. Then you have a chance of playing Hex debuffs, which Hex is important for especially things like the Hydra. You also have a chance of getting that fear going on, which is great, and instead on enemies under Hex. So you need to get the Hex to kind of transition into that fear. So we got some neat things in here. You got 30% increased crit chance, critical damage. All right. Then you can attack all the enemies. 75% chance of placing a block active skills. Cool, right? On targets with Hex. So Hex is gonna be really important. So you might be able to get some cool synergy if you have a few other champs of Hex, like maybe with Thrala, maybe recently you fused the Mad Hatter. So finding some Hex synergy could be nice. So we got a lot of combinations, but again, my problem is I feel like we're missing a little bit of something to really take a legendary champion to the next level. Let's go show you what I mean. We have, where's she at? Cleopterix. Yeah, 3.5 star overall. So it's like, you got the Hex stuff, which is all right for Hydra, but you need a little bit more. So maybe you had the wave-based content. I could see like Doom Tower being able to apply this stuff could be nice as well, right? So yeah, 4 months of waiting for a legendary that's just like, she's okay. I think that's probably the best way of putting her. I think she's just an okay champion. If she was an epic, maybe I'd be a little bit different of a tune, but for a legendary, it's just not 100% hitting. So I think a B tier feels okay for something like this. But then, as I learned, once you get Cleopterix, then you're gonna work your way into the next calendar once you unlock her, and that's gonna be Scion, which, funny enough, Scion was one of my first epics that I ever pulled in this game, so I have a little bit of experience with him. Didn't take him far, because even as a newer player, I just wasn't blown away by him. But Scion, you can see it's been a while since I messed up the artifacts on this character. Oh my gosh. I feel like Andy when he's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And he's like finding his old abandoned toys. But anyways, the reason I would use this champion, where is it at, was mainly for the heal reduction. I was, when I'm starting off, I'm trying to figure out how do I take care of like the potion dungeons. And I think it's the spirit dungeon, right? Where she can heal up a ton. Well, he was helpful for that regard, but I outgrew this character very, very quickly. But what do you got? Let's pull up some other stuff. Besides the heal reduction, you're able to this is a weird unique ability. You cannot decrease this champion's turn meter if there's an enemy under block skills, block buffs, heal reduction. What a weird unique ability I feel like that is right there. It would be if he was immune to all turn meter reduction regardless. Okay, that might be interesting. You can remove all debuffs on himself. He can't even share to cleanse. That's no fun. It's a very self-centered type of thing. For me, it's really just this evil seed right here that can help out. So I am not blown away by it. I'm not gonna lie though, I did get a little bit of help out of it, but yeah, you're seeing it's, well, not the best. So yeah, this is probably gonna be oh yeah, here you go. The best looking epics in the game, but otherwise this kid is underwhelming. Yeah, I think I might put him down here. It feels that way. However, I can say I used him a little bit, just a little bit though, not too long. And then next up we have, after you get through the Scion calendar, now you work your way into Guurda Bogbrew. This is gonna be your next legendary champion, but again, you get 25 fragments per month, meaning you gotta do this for 4 months between day 451 to day 570. Yeah, that's a long time, yeah? So let's pull up Guurda real quick. So I don't have her yet, although I do have Scion and Cleopterix. This is gonna be an all right overall champion for the most part. Ogre tribes, again, one of my most neglected factions. Look at this. There's not really a lot that's making me say, yes, I wanna upgrade this right away, but you know what? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. For me, I want to upgrade like the Sacred Order. I want to upgrade some Shadowkin. I want to upgrade the Knights Revenant. Like those are even Undead Hordes. It's like Ogre and Tribes. Like for me, it's like Ogre and Tribes, Skinwalkers are like on the bottom. Maybe even Lizardmen, pretty bottom. In just terms of visual appeal. That's just me, however. But with this character, let's go scroll down real quick. You got a resistance, which becomes a little bit more helpful, especially towards some end game content here. You got some debuff spreads. You got some weakens. All right, right? Poison is in here as well. A lot of poison shenanigans. Anytime she receives a debuff, her Terminator, their Terminator is decreased by 3%. So if you spam a lot of debuffs on the enemy, you know, that passive could be helpful. You know, it's just kind of okay overall. I'm not, like, from the little I've seen of this character, getting this legendary, I wish the legendaries, I'm appreciative that they give out free legendaries, right? Free epics. And as we're seeing, some of them are pretty darn good. But this one seems like another kind of okay-ish type of one. I mean, you could probably say maybe even more niche, but I'll put an okay-ish legendary that you can get in this game. So again, free legendaries are free legendaries, but definitely there are way better epics, even some rares, I would say, and of course other better legendaries than that one right there. Next up, let's go pull up what happens after you get Guurda Bogbrew. Well, then you move into the epic Lady Eresh, which takes 2 months to get, base 571 to 630. Actually, do I have this one? Let me double check. You know, sometimes I keep forgetting, you know, which ones I have. Let's see, Lady, let's see, Lady. No, I do not have her. Okay, so that means we could take a little gander at her through here. So Lady Eresh, we're getting close to the finish line here, people. Not a great look overall for this epic here. You know, do we even got to waste too much time on this? I mean, yeah, there's not a lot to brag about. You know, you have a 25% chance of placing a 25% weekend. 20% chance of granting an extra turn. And if an extra turn is not granted, you fill this turn by 10%. It's like these are just very low, weird probabilities and effects that you end up getting. Yeah, just nothing that really blows my mind out of the water. I guess Perfect Veil's okay if you're trying to work on Hydra, but yeah, even so, yeah, I don't know. This isn't, again, it sucks. You spend 2 months and this is what you get. I'm going harsh mode. I'm feeling a little harsh. I'm putting it in F tier. Let's go for it. I'm feeling mean. After Lady Eresh, we then move into Arix, your next legendary. Again, 4 months to pick it up. My gosh, 631 to 750, 25 fragments a month. Well, let's take a look, shall we? 3-star overall. Looks pretty cool. This is a really, again, I know characters, we want them to be good. I want them to look good too. You know, I want you to look the part, you know? We have some all right overall experience. So these, I feel like at this point, here's the, again, context of when you get these champions matter. At this point, if you are, what month was this again? This was, yeah, 631 to 750. I feel like at this point, you probably have Clan Boss locked in. You probably have your Hydra locked in. If not, I guess you got an all right champion. You're probably at a good spot with Doom Tower. It's just like a champion like this is coming a little too late. Now, this was earlier. This could be a little bit different of a deal, right? It just depends when it's coming out. That's the biggest issue that we have here. Definitely don't want to overbook into them, but you know, you can remove a buff on an enemy. Okay, get some stuns perhaps. All right, cool stuff. Get some 50% ally protection, also counterattack, and then the sneak ability fills the champion's turn by 5% each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. So you can definitely take advantage of this, right? This is probably the best thing about the kit. Then you heal the champion by 5% their max speed each time an enemy inflicts a critical hit. So this is all right. Again, it's nothing in terms of a legendary again, and you have to wait this long to get it. It's just, yeah, you'll just need to play for just over 2 years before you collect this character. So it just doesn't feel that amazing, right? So again, I think this is going to be another, especially for a legendary, just an okay champion. And then we have one more. We have this weird goblin looking dude over here, and that is going to be Ceez. Ceez these nuts? Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I apologize. This is going to be the last guaranteed, or well, fragment champion that you get. It's an epic, and you have to wait 751 to 810 days, and it takes 2 months to get this champion up and running. So, yeah, kind of a long time to get these up and running, right? Well, what do you get from Ceez? A 3.5-star overall champion. Again, I feel like, especially if you're playing the game this long, you are dedicated. They need to hit it home, and it feels like that it's falling a bit short here. I mean, at this point, you know, I'm sure you have a Fire Knight champion up and running. Maybe you already have the faction wars on. Again, this isn't like this is 3 months in, 4 months in. This is multiple years in. It's not ending on a strong note, unfortunately. So it's a little bit disappointed that this is how it's going to end here. It's just mostly, I think it's the passive ability that makes him interesting. You know, he steals 50% Terminator from the enemy at the highest Terminator at the end of this champion's turn, and it can't be resisted. So I would say this is the most interesting one, and this is especially interesting for Fire Knight. So, but again, I think if you're pulling him accidentally early on, all right, could be all right for the Fire Knight when you need to pull Terminator back. But otherwise, it's just, this is multiple years in the game. I want a big firework explosion congratulating me for playing this long. Otherwise, Nothing too special, but I guess it's worth noting though, you don't really even need accuracy. If the effect is unresistible, why do you have to worry about accuracy? So again, it's cool stuff, like it's almost there, but overall, I think this is just mostly gonna be an okay champion. Let's put it, yeah, okay champion, I would say at best. So man, is this what I'm feeling? Is this what I'm feeling? What a spread. I think for me, it's clear above and beyond everything else. Scyl of the Drakes is clearly not even just the best login champion, but I think one of the better overall legendaries you can just get in this game. The fact that she's free, and especially earlier on in the game, that's exactly what I like to see out of login champions. A free one, 180 days in, so you know it's 6 months in, which is still very new in a game like this. You know, this for myself, I think is a big deal. I've been using her, highly recommend you gear up her. But other than that, I haven't geared up too many of these. You know, it sucks to say, but again, if you're someone that's completely free, you need to take advantage of every single champion. I would say for sure these top two worth the resources. The middle one, okay, you know, maybe you'll get some use out of them. And then maybe you want to avoid these more niche and these F tier champions that we have here. But that's gonna wrap it up for today, my friends. Let me know, how would you rank these champions? Maybe you move someone higher, a little bit lower. This is just my take on the matter, and especially in a game where resources are important. You know, I might be a little bit more strict on some champions, and then also if some champions look cool, it might be a little nice to them. But you know what else is nice? My giveaway. Use my link down below. Scan my QR code of infinite knowledge, and I'll get you champions that are probably better than a grand majority of these. And that's Tagore right from the very beginning, and then Deacon Armstrong once you hit level 40, and that is a banging character right there. Thank you so much for stopping by. Fun video. It's exciting getting free champions, my friends. It really is. Wow. Who knew that most people's favorite word is FREE? And you know what? I want you to double E on the like button, subscribe. It's great to be in the Empire today. It's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.